This is a Blender tutorial about recreating November rain with geometry nodes. November rain is actually a pretty simple stand. It's actually just rain as an AoE effect. Our main goal is to make the rain and the impact underneath the rain in some capacity. As I am editing this video, I'm realizing that this is not the most straightforward tutorial. Therefore, I'm actually just going to put the nodes right here. The explanations and the thought process of how I got this is the bulk of this video. There are explanations about how things work scattered around it for for those with ears to hear. And throughout the video, there will also be like me putting together sort of an explanation and reworking the system. I'm kind of curious to see how this will work. I think this is actually going to be more helpful for people that want to learn geometry nodes in a critical thinking capacity. In this first part, we managed to achieve the fundamental system for the falling rain, which was an evolution of the more low poly snow system we made the other day. So I'm going to give a recap of that first. Before, it was just a block of scattered cubes moving from Z1 to Z0. Now, what I'm trying to do today with the geometry nodes now is have it so once each individual droplet goes to 0, it returns back to 1, and potentially even in a different place. So it looks like scattered rain as it falls down. So the way that I structure this in my mind is, okay, what I want to do is I want to have some sort of flat surface that I can scatter individual points on. So in this case, I'm going to use a grid. And then I want to scatter points on this grid with distribute points on faces. And from there, I want to put a spline or a curve at each point. And what my thought process of that was, it's easy for an object to be at the top of a curve and then go to the bottom of a curve and then return back to the top. I had trouble figuring out how to do that, but I ended up figuring out in order to do that, I needed to do resample curve, and then I needed to figure out how to do it for each individual point, because I wanted the positions to be kind of different as they fall. However, I think that my current mentality about it is kind of wrong, because right now it's based on, like, the rain is scattered based on the position. However, maybe I'm at a point where it's like I can, instead of focusing on the position and at the beginning, because that's kind of what's messing it up right now, I'm thinking that I'll actually put some sort of varied velocity at the start of a rain droplet falling, so that it kind of does like drop at different rates, and then it returns back up at a different rate, and that will make it a little bit more scattered. My theory right now is, like, if I drop it at different rates, I will be able to get this scattering falling effect that I'm looking for when I'm doing the normal plane. But instead, like, now it's just continuously scattering like rainfall. That's kind of my goal. I'm not sure if this will achieve the effect, but I'm pretty close right now. I think that the best case scenario for this is to kind of like, I'm thinking I might actually need to figure out how to use simulation nodes to the best of my advantage, because I'm testing it outside of a simulation node. However, like, this section is the bonus, like, questions and thoughts that I have. So every droplet of rain starts at the same point. Okay, cool. Every droplet of rain ends at the same point. Okay, cool. And that's kind of the problem that I'm having right now, is that, like, the rain doesn't seem to be, like, it's like I have this weird cloud at the end that I don't want. That's one of the problems that I'm having, is that, like, it just, like, keeps the cluster there. I think that the way I'm doing it right now is just wrong. Uh, because it puts this effect where it's like, okay, there's rain droplets below a different droplet at the end point of where I want it to end. I did like how I had it initially thought out was like, okay, I'll have two planes, like one on the top and one on the bottom. I still have that plane there, and it might come in handy because it might be able to make a. Oh wait, maybe that's how I could do like a contact point, like, but I don't know if that makes sense. I should probably also do some kind of like I shouldn't worry about the second part right now because the first part is more imperative. So update, I changed some nodes around so that the position is no longer scattered from the beginning. So it does this thing where it kind of has a plane falling all at once, and then after the initial fall it does it. I'm not getting the same effect at the top, but it's still like this weird cloud at the bottom, which honestly, like, maybe I shouldn't worry about it too much now that I'm thinking about it, because like it could easily be covered up, and then like maybe we could put the contact point there. Actually, that's a smarter approach. Like, just hide the bottom section, like completely hide it somehow. Like if it's rain and the contact point is from the start to the bottom, then like, okay, then it's going beneath the floor, and then once it hits that point, it's like the end point is going to be beneath the floor. That's okay. Um, we have to fix the way that it's falling. Like, I'm okay with, okay, we can hide the bottom, but the way that it's falling is too fast. I want to be able to control the speed. So I got to figure out how to do that. I don't get what's going on. So that'll probably be the last thing that I work on. I figured it out. Right after the scene time, if I have some sort of math divider or multiplier, right after, and then after the truncated modulo, to have a multiplier, it allows me to change the speed that it's falling at. This was one of the few happy accidents that I came across where I got this sizzling effect from augmenting the random value just now. And I was so impressed because it's so satisfying to look at. And it just goes to show you, you can get a lot from one system by just experimenting with it and like being engrossed in the process outside of like, okay, do this step and then do this step. This is like my third time reviewing it. And then this is a whirlwind that I created, and I explain it in a second here. I turned off all curves, and or I turned on all curves, and what it does is basically it simulates going down one curve, and then it goes to the next curve, and then it goes to the next curve. So by turning off all curves, I was able to kind of make this interesting whirlwind effect, and you can control the speed with the same things from before. That's going to sum it up for the first part. Now that I know that I could shoot something down this curve, I want to be more specific about what I'm shooting down to get the exact look of the kind of like line like rain. I think that I'm going to end up using planes specifically for my case because I think it'll just serve me better. This also could have been done with a completely different way, but I like this way. But this way is kind of heavy. Like I've already seen the heaviness of it. We don't really need to do that, right? True. We don't need to actually do that. That's it for real this time, guys. To be continued. Thanks for watching.